Hi there, I'm Drew Badger, the world's #1 English fluency guide, and it is a pleasure to welcome you to another advanced listening practice lesson. In this lesson series, as always, I will be speaking quickly and more quickly than I do normally, but people have asked me, is this the way, even at my quick speed, is that the way I actually speak? Well, yes and no. So it's usually the speed that I speak, but I try to speak just a little bit more clearly so you can understand what I'm saying. But in general, my speech is actually quite clear, and most people don't have any problem understanding me, native speakers or non-native speakers. And if you have not yet seen the transcripts for these videos, I recommend you go to EnglishAnyone.com and you can find the transcripts there. We're kind of releasing the videos here on YouTube first because I know people want to get the videos, but then the transcripts for the lessons come out a little bit later. So I appreciate your patience, but if you have not seen some of the transcripts for the earlier videos, go back and watch them at EnglishAnyone.com. Anyway, let's get into the lesson. I wanted to talk about something in this video that's I don't know, it's kind of, well, I guess everything I talk about is a little bit different. I don't, try not to do a typical lesson where I'm just, pointing to some things on a whiteboard or whatever, talking about them. But I like to talk about psychology and the mind a lot. I think about that a lot, actually. Because it's such an important thing no matter what you're doing, whether you're talking about fluency or trying to get fluent in, life, whatever that happens to be, whatever your interest happens to be. And so this one is about kind of listening to that little voice in the back of your mind or in the back of your head or in your heart or whatever you call it, wherever you think that voice is. So in native conversational situations, people talk about listening to that little voice, which could be your conscience. Now, your conscience is maybe that thing that says, like, hey, like, you shouldn't steal that candy or something like that. So it's like the kind of typical in American idea. You've got like the good angel on your shoulder and then the bad little devil. It's saying like, yeah, do that bad thing. And the good angel is like, no, don't do that bad thing. You should do the good thing, something like that. Now, what I'm talking about is not about that. It's not about like, should you do a good thing or a bad thing. It's more kind of trusting yourself and developing a sense for when you should take action or how you should take action, how you should make decisions about things. Because as people, like some people, they really like to have as much information as possible before making a decision about something. So they really want to know, okay, if I do this, then this thing will happen, and then that thing will happen, something like that. But most often in life, things don't work that way. So maybe you think something, or you have all this planning and you prepare all of these things, but then when it finally happens, like, it doesn't actually work that way. So this could be like sports is a really great example of that. Maybe you do all this training and spend all this time planning how you should do something, what the plan for a basketball game is, for an example, and then you get into the game and then the other team has been thinking about how to defeat that, how to do something different to that or different from that. And then in that situation, you think, wow, like I did all this planning and then the thing that I wanted, it didn't happen the way I thought it would. So what I'm talking about here, again, it's not like should you do something good or should you do something bad. It's more, how do you make good decisions about things in life when maybe you don't have all the answers, or even if you do think you know what's going to happen about something, you really can't know like for sure because nobody really knows about the future, but how do you make good decisions about things even when you don't have access to that information? So this is something I've just been thinking about for my own personal life, and even though it's not a specific English learning thing, it's helpful as a learner because it kind of tells you whether you're doing the right thing when you're listening to something or if you're studying in the right way for you, whatever that happens to be. So for me, when I first came to Japan and I was thinking about learning Japanese and I was in a Japanese classroom, I think I went to 2 or 3 lessons before I quit the class because I didn't like doing it. And I could feel it very quickly when I was in there for the first time that like it wasn't for me. And it's not because I was uncomfortable or something like that. I was just like, this is not how I should be learning. It just wasn't for me. And because I listened to that voice, I got out and then started thinking about my own way to learn. I mean, after struggling for a long time, and I was like, the reason I was in the class in the first place is because I tried to learn by myself and it didn't work out. So I thought, okay, maybe I should go to a class, and that didn't work out either. It was basically the same lessons that everybody else was using, but just in a classroom. And so it was really boring and the typical thing that people do to learn languages. Anyway, I'm glad I did it because I hated it so much that I decided to create my own system and my own way of learning after that. And that's why I do what I do now. But anyway, this isn't about language learning. This is about making decisions and how you can listen to that little voice in the back of your head that's like, yeah, this is a good idea. And you kind of know like something might be difficult, but maybe you've had that experience in your own life as well where you think, yeah, like this is a little bit tricky to do. I don't know if it's the best idea, but something tells you, and this is often something that native speakers will say, like, something tells me this is a good idea. Something tells me this is a good idea. So you don't have a good reason or you can't really explain it, but it's like somehow you just know. You just know. And native speakers will say this also, like, I don't really know how it happened, but I just knew. I just know right now. So whatever that is, you can talk about listening to that little voice in the back of your head, and I would encourage you to do that more. So no human really has access to the future anyway, and often our plans are really not happening the way we would like them to happen. So why not try listening to that little voice in the back of your head or in your heart or whatever you want to call it. People call it listening to their heart, something. But when you do that, you begin training yourself actually to make better decisions by listening to that little voice. Now, obviously, I still use, logic and reasoning when I'm like, okay, should I make this decision or that thing or choose one thing over another? I kind of think about it. And a friend of mine, when I was in high school, this is kind of like a story from them, but he gave me like an interesting tip that can kind of train you to do that sort of thing. So what he did was, when he wanted to make a decision and he was, as native speakers will say, on the fence about it, like imagine you have a fence between two different yards or two different alternatives and you're on the fence. So you don't know whether to go that way or that way, something like that. So when you're on the fence about something, flip a coin and then decide like, okay, heads is this decision and tails is that decision. So you flip a coin and then right when the coin lands and you look at it, so you flip the coin and, okay, I'm going to check what the coin is. Listen to your first thought when you look at that. And most often you will like feel like a little bit disappointed about one or like kind of happy about the other, something like that. So you don't use the coin to actually make the decision. You use the coin to kind of force you to think about something or to activate that part of your brain that can make decisions in that way. And most of the time we know whether we should be making a decision kind of like how we feel about it. But I just want you to be very careful to say like, maybe something is uncomfortable for you, so you shouldn't do it. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about even if something is uncomfortable, you have a feeling inside you that's like, yes, like this is actually something I should be doing. This is a good idea. So for whatever, like, me starting this business to help people learn English, like, it's like, yeah, it could be difficult or I could fail or look at me, I'm like making videos and people all over the world watch these. What if I have like something in my eye or I look stupid or whatever? There's lots of things that could go wrong with this. But I had that feeling. I just knew that it was a good thing to do. And if you can think about things in the same way, maybe use that coin flipping example that my friend taught me about, it might help you to see things in that way as well. So especially when people, like, you really want a lot of information or you just feel like, I don't know what to do. Like some people have maybe a lot of different interests, especially young people when they're thinking, okay, I like dancing and sports and writing and all these other things. Like, Mom, which one do I choose? I don't know which one I should be doing. Like, flip a coin or just sit there and think about like which of these is the activity that I'm really enjoying. And you will get a sense for that, but it may take some time to develop that sense. But it's something that I've been trying to develop, like it's almost like the sense for choosing things in the right way, the sense for choosing things. So you could call it again, the little voice in the back of your head, or if you call it your heart or whatever that thing is. But the point is that you should be using that more because nobody can know about the future and nobody can perfectly anticipate when something is going to happen. And then the second part of this is that after you've made a choice, like after you've kind of listened to your heart even about something small, like maybe a little thing like, should I go to the zoo today or should I go to the park? And you just listen to the feeling like, like something tells me, I just know that going to the zoo is a good idea. I don't know why, But then maybe you go to the zoo and then something really great happens to you and you think, oh, like, wow. So that begins to train you like, wow, like I listened and then I went there and then I was rewarded for that. Now, it may not work all the time, but you develop over time, like for myself anyway, I tend to make good decisions most of the time, and people respect me like making good decisions about my life. Like when I was younger, maybe I didn't make such great decisions about my life, but I tend to do that quite well now that I'm older. Anyway, I'm just encouraging you to do that today in this advanced listening practice lesson, just because, again, nobody knows about the future, so why not try listening to that to give you kind of something even better that maybe we don't quite understand how it works, but it does work in many situations. It's certainly been working for me, and I'm happy to continue developing it further until it stops working for me, but I don't think that will probably be happening. Anyway, have a fantastic day. Do go back, listen to this video a couple of times, and look forward to seeing this also appear as a transcript when we get this up on EnglishAnyone.com. If you have not seen the transcripts already for these series of videos, then do go back to EnglishAnyone.com and you can look at those. We've got our interactive transcript and video player that you can enjoy, and you can practice with these even at a faster speed. So you can even slow the videos down, add some spaces so you can practice repeating after me, and then of course you've got the transcripts there as well, so you can read along with what I'm saying, even at fast speed. Anyway, have a fantastic day. If you've enjoyed this video, do like it, do share it with maybe 500 people or 1,000 people, whoever you know. That would be great, just so we can get more people practicing with actual native conversation and actual native speakers at native speed. Anyway, have a fantastic day. Do become a subscriber to the YouTube channel if you're not already, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye. To continue learning, click on the link in this video to download Speak English Naturally, our free guide to speaking and sounding like a native English speaker. The guide reveals the 3 most important kinds of conversational English you must learn if you want to sound native, and will help you experience instant improvement in your fluency and speaking confidence. To download your free guide on a mobile device, click on the link in the upper right of this video. To download your free guide from a computer, click on the link in the lower right of this video. I look forward to seeing you in the guide.